How do you step into your CEO energy? This is a question that came up in one of the Facebook groups that I belong to, and the answers were wonderful. It was all about taking aligned action and embodying your queen energy. And yes, to all of these, but it left me thinking, what does this actually mean? And that's why in today's episode, I'm going to share with you 3 practical ways in which you can step into your CEO energy. And these work. My name is Tertia. This is Feminine Embodiment for Spiritual Business Owners. And it's the show where I teach you how to be more confidently visible, how to tap into your feminine power for success, and how to work in more embodied ways as you grow your business. So first, let's get clear about what it is that I'm even talking about, CEO energy, because it can mean different things to different people. That is another concept that can sound quite pie in the sky without anything tangible behind it. Now, this is what I think of as CEO energy. It's not how great your Instagram feed looks. It's not how big your team is, or even if you have a 6 or 7-figure business. To me, CEO energy is all about how you move through your business. It's an internal way of being. It's about how you show up in your business. It's about the decisions that you make. It's about how you value your time and how you value yourself and your work. So instead of waiting until you feel ready, or waiting for one more testimonial, or waiting until you have another certification before you feel like you are able and qualified, in quotation marks, enough to actually take on bigger clients and increase your prices, you're stepping into the energy of that already being so now. You are already making the decisions and moving through your business as if that is already true for you now, instead of waiting until you reach consistent 10 or 15 or 20K months before you feel like you have a legitimate business and you can allocate it the time and the dedication that a serious business, again in quotation marks, desire from you. You already give it your time and attention now before you even achieve those consistent monthly goals. And there are so many more examples that I can throw at you, but I think you can see where I'm going with this. Can you feel the difference? It's not about what you have or don't have. It is about how you move, about how you show up, and about who you see yourself to be in that showing up. And so you might find yourself right now where you are ready to take your business from a hobby horse into something that produces income more consistently so that you can do well and be well and earn well. Or you might be already earning some income and you're ready to scale and take it to that next level without working more or burning yourself out. So it doesn't matter where on this spectrum you find yourself. What I'm going to share with you right now is going to be helpful. So let's dive in. The very first way in which you can begin to step into your CEO energy is to examine your map of the world. So what do I mean by that? Gary Craig, who invented EFT tapping, used to call this the writing on your walls. And it's a beautiful analogy because we have this internal map, or we have these writings on the internal walls of our castle. And whenever we are faced with any kind of decision, whenever we experience any situation in the outside world, what we go and do before we take action is we go and read the writing on our walls. We go and see, what does our map have to say about this situation? And of course, we haven't had this situation before, but we've had situations in the past that were similar. And so we go and take the information from those past situations and experiences and conversations and events, and we apply that to what we see and experience right now. So this is a very efficient way in which our brain saves energy, but I'm sure you can see the downside to this. If we are always only going to refer to our existing writing on the wall, to our existing map of the world, without ever updating it, we're going to keep on applying information that might not be supportive to where we are right now. And so you might carry a belief around what is possible for you when it comes to business. And perhaps this was put onto you by your parents growing up, by your caretakers. Maybe you had an experience. Maybe you saw someone else in your family have an experience that told you what is possible and not possible when it comes to running a business. And every decision that you are going to make is going to come off these writings on the wall. It's going to bounce off that first. And so you want to make sure that whatever is written on the walls of your castle is supportive to where you are. Because if you don't, then you have what I call possibility blindness. And this is where if you have a firm belief about what is possible or not possible for you, and an opportunity comes along that contradicts this belief about what is not possible, you will not see that opportunity. And I've had experience of that in my own life, where there was a time where I thought in order for me to have a fuller client roster, I needed to have more experience. I needed to have a bigger audience. I wasn't able to do that right then with where I was. Whenever there was an opportunity that would allow me to reach more people or to sign up more people, I dismissed that because there wasn't space for that in my current worldview, even though that was the thing that I deeply desired. And so the first practical lesson that I want you to take from this is for you to examine what is your map of the world. What is the writing on your walls right now when it comes to your business? So after this episode, or even right now, you can go ahead and hit pause. Write down 3 things that you think are not possible for your business. And the scope can be as wide or as narrow as you want it. But what are 3 things that you believe is not possible for you to achieve in your business? And then once you've written that down, go ahead and look at each one as objectively as you can and ask yourself, is this the absolute truth? Meaning, is this so 100% true that it cannot be proven false in any way, shape, or form? And that's it. The first thing that we want to do when we start rewriting the writing on our walls and redesigning our map of the world is we want to first see what our current beliefs are and start to challenge them. So that's all you need to do, is simply look at what you've written down and ask yourself, is this the absolute truth? Moving on then to the second way in which you can step into your CEO energy. And this is about something that I call the invisible middle. So here's how it works. Between any 2 points in time, for example, where you are now and the goal that you desire for your business, whether it's a financial goal, whether it is a client number goal, whether it is a launch goal, there's you and there's your goal. And in between you and this goal, there is a field that is filled with possibility, and this field is invisible. This field is also filled with all of the beliefs that you have, all of the ideas that you have. That map of the world fills up this invisible space. And when we start talking about aligned action, this is actually what it refers to, because ideally what you want to do is you want to go from where you are now, point A, and move towards your goal, point B, in an aligned way. In other words, you want to take the actions and make the decisions and execute the tasks that's going to bring you to your goal in the shortest and the quickest, most possible way. Often what we find happens, though, is that you are here, your goal is over here, but we go sideways. Or we go and we end up in a completely different place to where it is that we want it to be. And the reason that this happens is because of this invisible middle. It's because of all of the things that are held in this field. So a practical example of this is, let's say you are building your audience, pretty much like I'm doing now. And one of the ways in which you can build your audience best is to create content. But instead of creating the content so that you can take aligned action, which brings you closer to your goal, you end up doing admin tasks that won't really move the needle. You end up spending your time agonizing over the decisions that has nothing to do with creating content and moving you closer to your goal. Or you just find ways to delay actually putting content out there for whatever reason. And I'm not sharing this to shame you or to tell you that you need to do better. What is important for you to understand about this, if you find yourself between these, I have this desire and this goal, but I just don't get to do the things that brings me closer to that, it has to do with what is held in your nervous system. Whatever is held in this invisible middle, whether it's your mindset, belief systems, conditioning, things that you believe is possible or not possible for you, that map of the world, it lies on the foundation of your nervous system. And this is why affirmations and telling yourself to just get on with it doesn't work, because it takes so long to actually trickle through into your nervous system. If this invisible middle is actively shaping the actions that you are taking, it is by working directly with your nervous system and what is held in the body, the frozen tension that's held in the body, that we can begin to fill this invisible middle to make sure that whatever is held in this invisible middle is working for you rather than against you. So here is a practical action to start clearing this invisible middle. And what I want you to do is tomorrow morning, before you start your workday, actually, you can even do it after you've watched this episode, just take a moment and drop into your body. If you can do this for a few minutes, that's even better. And what I invite you to do is, as you close your eyes and you feel into your body where you're sitting, just noticing where your feet are touching the floor, for example, and notice how you are feeling on the inside. Notice how your body is feeling. Notice how your energy is feeling. And then you can call up in your mind's eye the 2 goals or 3 goals that you have set out for the day, and think about how you want to feel as you achieve them. Let me make it even more practical for you. Let's say you're creating content like a reel or a video episode like this, or even a podcast. How do you want to feel as you are doing that? Do you want to feel stressed and under pressure and feeling time constraints and feeling like you have to get it absolutely right? Or do you want to feel confident and easy and settled into your skin? And it sounds very simplistic, but when you begin to feel into how it is that you want to feel, you're starting to put your body into that state. And you are beginning to dissolve any tension that is being held in your nervous system. And that leads me into the third and final way in which you can step into your CEO energy. And that has to do with body sensitivity. Now, this is something that I talk about a lot. I talk about it almost in every episode, I think. And it's because it's my jam. Embodiment is my jam. And falling into the truth of who you are so that you can lead from all of who you are, the full spectrum of you, allowed to show up and express and share your gifts with the world. It's one of the most liberating things that you can do for yourself. So body sensitivity really means that you are sensitive to the feelings and the sensations in your body. And you can use those feelings and sensations as data to help you make decisions and to help you take more aligned action and to help you navigate as you move through your business. We have been habituated by and large through our cultures and the world that we live in. We've been habituated to live from the neck up, which means that we are largely cut off from this wild intelligence that lives in our body. So we're thinking and we're planning and we're analyzing and we're strategizing and we're always moving forward. Our energy is pulled up into our heads and away from us. And of course, we want to plan and strategize and think and do all of these things, but we do not want to do it to the exclusion of everything else, because then we start extracting from ourselves. Then we start burning out. Then we start chasing goals that just feel empty when we eventually reach them. And it shows up in the most simple ways in our businesses that we live so much from the head up. For example, when you put off going to the toilet for hours because you're busy working on something that you don't want to interrupt. Or when you skip lunch, or you take lunch at your desk, one hand eating and the other hand busy typing. It happens when you just push through your tiredness and you just go for a little bit longer, because we have been conditioned again that our productivity and our output is what gives us value. And so we often see our body's needs as an inconvenience. It's something that gets in the way of us actually getting things done. And this, in my opinion, is the wrong way to look at not even just running a business, but running your life. We want to learn how to lead with our full self. So not only our thoughts, but also our emotions, our feelings and our sensations, and our inner knowings. Because this is what lets us make better decisions and show up more resourced and do things that are really supportive to our well-being. And if we translate that into a business context, it allows us to work well, earn well, and be well. There are studies that show us that what happens in our body, so the feelings and the sensations that we have whenever an event happens before our mind actually makes sense or our mind registers that something has happened. And you might even have the experience before where you were out in a meeting with someone, and in that conversation, something happened which you aren't completely comfortable with. At the time, you didn't say anything. And then when you left and you sat in the car, for example, or you were going down in the elevator thinking about what just happened, you go, oh, that wasn't right, or that wasn't fair, or I'm not happy with that. And this is a challenge that so many of us experience, is the gap between taking action when we actually feeling something is not right and thinking that something is not right. And so by developing your body sensitivity, effectively what we're doing is we're closing that gap so that we can take action faster, so that we can actually have stronger boundaries, because we know quicker when our boundaries have been crossed, so that we can make more aligned decisions, because we're not only using the logic of our head, but we're also bringing the wild wisdom of our body online. How often has it happened where you go, I knew I should have, or I knew I shouldn't have, and we sit with regrets for decisions that we've made. Again, when we have body sensitivity and we can tap into the feelings and the sensations that are there, it closes the gap so that we are quicker to follow these impulses from our body. And there's also a beautiful side effect that happens when we become sensitive to our body. And that is that the map of the world, the writing on our walls, they begin to reorganize themselves without us trying to put extra effort into doing that. Our actions start becoming more aligned without us putting more effort into it, because the invisible middle, whatever is happening in the operating field, is starting to change to our advantage, is starting to change into something that is more supportive. So here's the action that you can take to develop more body sensitivity, and it is deceptively simple. It starts with you starting to listen to your body. So literally listen to your body. If you are thirsty, go and drink water. If you need to go to the bathroom, don't wait a few hours, but go as soon as you have that awareness. If you're hungry, if you're tired, listen to what your body is saying, and do not experience those things as an inconvenience. So begin to change your mindset and your attitude towards this. And even though it looks so deceptively simple, the language of our physical body, hunger, tiredness, thirst, If these loud sensations and feelings, if you ignore that, then listening to the softer, more subtle sensations of your internal feelings and sensations become far more difficult. So before we can even begin to feel what is happening in our internal landscape, we first need to be able to listen and attend to what's happening on the surface, the more grosser, louder sensations of our body. So let's bring all of this together. There are 3 ways in which you can step into your CEO energy. Number 1 is to examine your map of the world. Write down 3 beliefs that you have about your business and ask yourself, is this the absolute truth? Number 2 is understand the invisible middle. Understand that where you are and where your goal is, there is a field of possibilities, and whatever is filled in this field is going to determine how aligned your actions are. In other words, how much your actions are going to be a straight line towards your goal. And then number 3 is to develop body sensitivity so that you can start to lead with your whole being and make decisions from your full spectrum of who you are instead of only with your head. Your CEO energy is something that comes from the inside out. And it doesn't matter what your business looks like, how much revenue you have, or how big your team is, or how non-existent your team is. You are the energy and the center of your business. You can be the CEO of your business and start to make such decisions at any point in time. And the next level from stepping into the CEO energy is growth. There is no other thing than that. Now, I've been doing embodiment work, I've been doing presentation skills, and I have been doing healing work, energy work for so many years, and I'm finally bringing all of that together in a brand new program. It's a beta program, which means that I'm building it as I go, and I'm looking for 10 founding members, so 10 people who will join me in creating an amazing offering where we work with energetics, we work with mindset, and we work with embodiment to get you more confidently visible so that your business can finally become as profitable as you desire in a way that is easy rather than stressful. I'm leaving a link for you in the show notes. The waitlist for this brand new program is open, and I will only make this offer available to people that is on my waitlist. So if you want to know about when we start and how much it's going to be at a fraction of the cost, by the way, then make sure that you put your name on the waitlist. So again, that will be in the show notes for you. I would love to hear what landed for you. Go ahead and tag me on socials with whatever landed, or send me an email. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.